Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Fiziev versus Torres. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So we scroll on down. First fight on the card, we have in the welterweight division, we got Tahir Abdullayev versus Jefferson Nascimento. And yeah, how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go Jefferson Nascimento to beat Tahir Abdullayev. Both guys are very short welterweights. Both are like 5'8". See, 5'8", 29, age unknown. But Abdullayev got a little more fat on him. Nascimento's more trim. I think Nascimento in his career, I think most for that 155. He just fighting here because it's on short notice or it's opportunity. Abdullayev, much sloppier fighter. Nascimento much more technical. Abdullayev probably pack more. Well, he does pack more power with his punches. But again, both guys really have no business being at welterweight. No business being at welterweight. I'm going with the more technical fighter, Nascimento here. I give Abdullayev the power advantage, but his technique is very sloppy. And I see a lot of fights he's getting chewed up, and he just lands big shots. I can see Jefferson Nascimento understanding that that's really Abdullayev's path to victory. Just a big sloppy swinging, and then just chop his leg up, picking him apart. And I'll say third round TKO for Jefferson Nascimento, just breaking down the sloppy, fat, chunky Abdullayev, who has very limited technique, and stopping him in the third round. So in this one, I got Jefferson Nascimento via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Bekzat Almakhan versus John Matsumoto. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Bekzat Almakhan to beat John Matsumoto. So yeah, John Matsumoto definitely mixes up his martial arts more. But Bekzat has been in with better fighters time and time again. He's been there with Alexander Topuria. Had a pretty competitive fight with him. Been there with Umar Nurmagomedov. Dropped him in the first. And I think the Umar fight was like on short notice. And obviously a big, huge step up in competition. And the Alexander Topuria fight, I believe that was a full training camp. He had good moments in that fight. It was competitive. But mainly with this one, I think Bekzat Almakhan packs more power. I think he's more economical. I think he's more sharp with his shots. I think John Matsumoto is more busy. He's more flashy, a lot of spinning stuff. A lot of jumping into shots and then trying to explode into takedowns. Whereas Almakhan, he'll pick his shots, he'll set them up well, he'll come with different angles, but again, it's not too much flash and jumping and popping and twirling and dazzle is Matsumoto, but it's more effective what Almakhan does. And this is a big step down for Almakhan as far as his opponents he has fought in the UFC, or at least opponents he has lost to in the UFC. He has one win that was, then they have a similar win on their record, but he stopped that opponent. Matsumoto took him to a close decision. But I'm not going that type of route. But main thing here, I feel with Matsumoto, if his wrestling was more successful, or he was more successful or more effective with his wrestling and grappling, I might lean him here because I do like to lean to guys. It's a close competitive fight on paper. I lean to the guy that can mix it up more. But Matsumoto, it's not like he's been that effective with his grappling. I think he had one submission in the UFC, and that was when his opponent was taking him down. And then he found the submission. It wasn't him taking his opponent down time and time again, flattening him out, pounding him out, and did find a submission. It was like them trying to take him down and successfully taking him down. Then eventually he was able to find a submission on them because they were going so aggressive with the takedown. So it's not like he's this guy that has a track record of, I'm fighting elite guy after elite guy and I take them down. Or I'm fighting elite guys after elite guys with good takedown defense or respectable takedown defense, respectable grappling, and I'm taking them down time and time again. No, he has not really been shown to be that guy that has had so much success being that guy to mix up and get takedowns. And especially to get takedowns to win a fight. He has not really been that guy consistently or that effectively. If anything, it's been guys taking him down with success. So yeah, I think Almakhan should be able to address his wrestling enough, be able to land the heavier shots on the feet. Close competitive fight, maybe Matsumoto lands the more shots, but Almakhan I think will land the harder shots, the more significant shots. And that's what the judges are going to see, and I think that's what's going to be more effective and more easy to judge for the judges. And I think Almakhan wins the decision. Could be a split decision type fight. Two high-level guys that just, again, be given a tough road. Matsumoto been coming up short, split decision type fights coming up short. Almakhan's been, taking fights that a lot of other people would easily turn down. Who would fight Umar Nurmagomedov in their first fight? Not a lot of people take the fight that's almost like just accepting a guaranteed loss. But Almakhan's not ducking no fades. Matsumoto for the most part not ducking no fades. But yeah, they're both kind of similar fighters. Is that they're very high skill low, but they're not trying to take the easy route by no means, and that's why they're fighting each other. But I got to go Almacan here. I'm gonna favor his power and him just landing more clean shots over Matsumoto just being busy. So in this one, I got Bekzat Almacan via decision. Now the next fight we got in the welterweight division, we got Daniil Danchenko versus Theodore Bergen. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Daniil Danchenko to beat Theodore Bergen. Bergen's like a solid fighter, solid build, and well-rounded enough. And it's still seems like a wild card fighter that could come and definitely give Danchenko issues potentially. Especially he's got to be tough, push the pace, and drag Danchenko in late because Danchenko can be a bit of a fader. So that's why I'm not like high confidence or average confidence or here or whatever the case confidence here. Daniil Danchenko definitely has got his feet wet in the UFC. He's won the Ultimate Fighter. I think he's like 2 wins into the UFC now. He's had to fight against a veteran. What's his name? What's the guy's name? I forgot his name. I don't know why I forgot his name, but this is his last fight. Alex Morano. Yeah, he just had that veteran fight. He did what he had to do. Kind of had some rough patches down that stretch. Again, as you would expect with a guy like Daniil Danchenko, a guy who's a front runner, kind of fades as the fight goes on. But yeah, Bergen really has not fought any respectable competition just yet. But again, I do see some things I like from him. That's why, and I do see some stuff I don't like from Danchenko. So that's why it's like low confidence and not average confidence. Especially with how this year has been going recently. I can't really be like, oh, this guy's this, that. Especially not in this fight in particular. But yeah, I think Daniil Danchenko has done, he has done his enough work. He has done enough work. I said he had done his enough work. But yeah, he has done enough work now that I think now that he should win this fight. I can see the upset from Berger in here, but Danchenko has, got his feet wet. This is not his first fight in the UFC. It's not that. He's been working a lot on his wrestling defense. And I think he'll be able to address the grappling, push the pace, be the better, sharper striker, be the more effective striker. And I'll say he'll beat Theodore Bergen via decision here. I think Bergen will be tough. I think he'll, surprise a lot of people enough and, make this fight more competitive than people think it will be. But I think Danchenko will be to address the grappling and just be the sharper striker, break down Bergen over the course of the fight, be more effective throughout the rounds, and beat Bergen by decision. So in this one, I got Daniil Danchenko via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Khan Ofli versus Javier Reyes. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Javier Reyes to beat Khan Ofli. And yet again, another close fight on paper. I think Reyes has enough grappling to be able to address Ofli's grappling. And I think he's a sharper, more dynamic striker than Khan Ofli here. Also, I feel like Khan Ofli lost his last fight. And I think Reyes is more like a longer, sharper, more dynamic of the two. Ofli will have the grappling advantage, but I think Reyes has enough grappling, enough takedown defense to be able to keep this fight on the feet, or at least address the grappling enough that it will kind of play more to who can strike better. And yeah, I think Reyes is the better striker, the more dynamic striker, the sharper striker. And I think he'll be able to beat Ofli by decision. But very competitive fight. Maybe another one of these split decision type fights, but Javier Reyes getting the win. And I think it'll be a clear enough win, in my opinion, but still very close competitive. But again, mostly Reyes addressing grappling, landing the cleaner shots, landing the harder shots, and beating Ofli by decision here. So in this one, I have Javier Reyes via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, we got Nursultan Ruziboev versus Andre Puliev. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Nursultan Ruziboev to beat Andre Puliev. Puliev is a solid underrated fighter, but I just really can't pick any area where he's better than Ruziboev. I don't feel like he'll have such good offensive wrestling, or if he even gets there, he'll have such effective top grappling, ground and pound, and stuff like that. And yeah, I think Ruziboev would be able to address the grappling. If anything, Ruziboev will be the one who have the better submission grappling of the two. So if it does go to the ground, Ruziboev will again probably be the more dangerous guy there. So yeah, then on the feet, Puliev is a solid striker, but I think Ruziboev is clearly the better striker of the two. So I'm going to see Puliev just showing toughness. He'll make it he'll show a decent show for himself. And this in all his fights, he's been there with who he been there with. He's been there with some solid guys that have not been able to stop him. He's been there with Christian Leroy Duncan. Took a whooping, but he made it the full distance. Went there with Gaudier, went the full distance, but took a beating. So the guy has been there with guys that I would feel are better finishers or more dangerous to finish him. Again, in Gaudier and Leroy Duncan. But he went the full 15 minutes, so I think he'll go the full 15 minutes here too with Fiziev. Again, I think this will be a competitive enough fight, but I think it'll be a clear win for Fiziev. I think he'll be the more effective fighter, pushing the pace, landing harder shots, controlling the tempo, controlling the range, controlling where the fight takes place. Pulev will probably have some moments. Maybe he'll get like a takedown or two here. Just I said maybe like a takedown and a half or something. Maybe that. Land his shots. Probably get outlanded by like 15, 20 significant strikes. But again, he definitely won't just get walked over. I don't think in this one, but I think in the end of the day it'll be a clear win for Fiziev. And he's just clearly the better fighter overall, and I think he beats Pulev by decision. So in this one, I got Nursultan Fiziev via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Abdul Rahman Yakiev versus Julius Walker. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Abdul Rahman Yakiev to beat Julius Walker. And Rahman is definitely overrated. Julius Walker is definitely underrated. Yakiev has only fought and won in the first round. His style is too aggressive. It's like the thing where your technique is good. I mean, your technique is good, but it's like you can tell when a guy is forcing it, rushing it, and we are doing that too much, and that is like continuing to work for you. Sometimes it just sets you up for failure in the near future. Because you keep thinking like, oh, I've been doing this since my first fight. It keeps working. He works. So why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you start fighting more elite guys, other talented guys, and they're to counter you and stop you, or they're able to slow your tempo down and drag the fight in, and then or allow you to waste energy. And then when they're still there after you exhausted on energy, you're just, and then you exhausted all your energy, and plus you become predictable. Like you keep doing the same exact thing, looking for the same exact shots, same exact opportunities, and they're no longer there. And now you're exhausted and you're out of answers against more elite guys. And then the next thing you know, you're getting upset to a guy like Walker, or you're getting upset against a higher level opponent, maybe a Kudilaba, maybe this, maybe that. It just happens. But yeah, I don't like. Yeah, that's my concern with Yakiev. And Walker, in my opinion, is extremely underrated as well. I like how Billy's wrestling was looking against Jacoby for a bit in that fight, in his last fight. And also I feel like Jacoby was the worst stylistic matchup he could afford at the time in his career. Because Walker's still a very young guy. He's not taking the right matchups for the most part. Like, he could have definitely taken better matchups. And I think Jacoby was by far the worst matchup he could have took in his last fight. And he had good moments. But ultimately, the outcome that was supposed to happen happened. He got TKO'd. No, Walker's not really a grappler like that. His striking is obviously not on the same level as Jacoby. So he was going to strike with a striker. A high-level striker. And that's not him. Because it's not like he's some super grappler that's go out there and grapple Jacoby. So you're just going to strike with a better striker. Either green fighter who only had 2 fights in the UFC, going to the UFC, and you were 1-1. And now you're going to fight one of the best strikers at light heavyweight, who has over 10 fights in the UFC and has been fighting MMA for 12 years. It was not a good matchup. And Jacoby has good takedown defense as well. Has experience, has the power. And Walker was coming off an ugly performance. So it was a terrible fight for him to take. But here, I think Walker, I like the fact that he's fair. I like the fact that he's enough talent. He has a good frame. His grapple is underrated. His strike is underrated. And if Yakiev does not respect that, or this thing is going to be a walkover, this is definitely a fight where, if he thinks Walker is a fighter he could just walk over, this is the fight where Yakiev can get walked by Walker. So, yeah, that's why my confidence is low here. But these both are talented fighters. And I think Walker could definitely turn his UFC career around. Definitely. He definitely has the talent to turn his career around. And I think, as far as his ceiling, I think this guy, Walker, could be a top 5 guy in the future. I would say, with his skill, his frame, if he takes the right fight and the right approaches and take his time. But he is kind of forcing it. The same way Yakiev forces his fights and his style, Walker is kind of forcing his career. He just keep taking these big risky fights instead of just trying to find the smarter fights. And let me get 2-3 wins. Let me take 2-3 years. It did take these fights. Now he trying to take whatever fight he can get or whatever fight they throw at him. And I don't know if that's the best approach. Because I see a lot of talented guys that probably could have had better careers. They feel like they're this big man. They try to be macho. And they try to take these big fights, and they just end up having short UFC careers, and then they never be able to be the best fighters they can be. And there's no reason for him to rush. It's not like he's this guy that's coming into the MMA game late. Oh, I'm 35. I might as well just take every fight I can take. No, you're in your 20s. If anything, you're like your mid, early 20s. Take your time, but it is what it is. And but yeah, but given how Abdul Rahman Yakiev fights, I had to go first round TKO because it seemed like if he goes beyond first round TKO, I'm almost not picking Yakiev. So if I'm picking Yakiev, he wins via first round TKO or first round submission. I got to go first round TKO. So I'll go first round TKO Abdul Rahman Yakiev, like a late first round TKO. I think he'll be able to capitalize on the advantage that Julius Walker is coming off a fight where he got knocked out. Is maybe not as confident in himself, given his performance in the UFC have all been lackluster. I do feel like he arguably won his debut fight against Minifield. Then his fight after that was extremely underrated. I mean, extremely underwhelming. Not underrated. Extremely underwhelming. His second fight UFC, but it was a win. And his third fight, he got knocked out. So he's a 1-2 in the UFC. Confidence maybe not there. Coming off a knockout loss. Abdul Rahman Yakiev, riding with a lot of confidence. The quicker fighter of the two, the heavier hitter of the two. I think he'll be able to break Walker down, set him up, then catch him late in the first round and finish him late in the first round via TKO. So in this one, I have Abdul Rahman Yakiev via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Farman Hassanov versus Eric Nolan. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Eric Nolan to beat Farman Hassanov. And yeah, going with Eric Nolan, the more experienced fighter of the two, the sharper striker of the two. Hassanov is kind of like a good build, untested for the most part, striking very sloppy, probably the better grappler of the two, but how effective will he be with his grappling? And again, who has he really beat? What has he really done with his grappling? Not too much to rate, but again, he's a young fighter, a question mark, a good build, and a good team. So we don't know exactly what he could bring here or what they could train. Like a lot of these guys that don't really have, aren't really molded yet, can make big leaps and bounds and improvements. And also, the competition he could be fighting could be better than we think. Because, again, just because we don't really know them yet, is the same way we don't really know him yet, they could be better. Or better than we think. Not that they're better than Eric Nolan or better than this, but could be better than we think. And Hassanov could come in this fight looking a lot different than looking a lot different than his other fights, for better or worse. So it's like a wild card. We don't know too much. So we got to see this guy fight a little more. And it's not like Eric Nolan is that good. Like, oh, this guy's that good. He's going to beat Hassanov easily. Like, Eric Nolan still is very much in an area where, like, yeah, he looked good. He looked great against, what's his face? I hate when I'm forgetting that name. But yeah, he just looked good against a very good prospect. Had him hurt. Nearly finished at the end of the first round. Then ultimately got finished himself by him. But he went in there with one of the hotter prospects at middleweight. And he was more than holding his own. So, and that was like on short notice. Upper weight class. Now he's back at 170, his rightful weight class. And he's fighting a guy who's extremely unproven in Hassanov. And Nolan will have the experience on him, will have the technical advantage, particularly in striking. Grappling is a question mark, but I think Nolan will be able to address the grappling if Hassanov wants to go that route. Dumb feet be the more effective striker, and ultimately also be able to extend Hassanov and break him down. And I'm looking at like a late second round TKO. Yeah, a late second round TKO for Eric Nolan. Being able to address the grappling, be the sharper striker from jump, work to the body, break Hassanov down, and then stop him late in the second round. So in this one, I have Eric Nolan via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, we got Abus Magomedov versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence, not average confidence. I'm going low confidence. Respect that. Low confidence Mikhail Oleksiejczuk to beat Abus Magomedov. Why my phone buzzing? All right. But yeah, low confidence Mikhail Oleksiejczuk to beat Abus Magomedov. I do got to respect the grappling of Abus Magomedov. And Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, the biggest issue of his game has definitely been grappling. I think he's been submitted once or twice at light heavyweight. I think he's been submitted once or twice at middleweight. So he has at least like 3 losses. Yeah, Holla submitted him at middleweight. Kyle Bahayo submitted him at middleweight. At light heavyweight, who submitted him? Did he get submitted by like Jimmy Crute or something? No, he got... No, not OSP. I remember somebody submitted him. But yeah, he definitely got submitted at light heavyweight as well. It might have been Jimmy Crute. By the way, he got submitted at light heavyweight at least once. And I know for sure at least twice at middleweight. At least twice. And Abus Magomedov does have already grappling. He was kind of throwing away. He was throwing around Joe Piper, who was a bigger middleweight and supposed to have a wrestling background. At least supposed to have decent wrestling, decent grappling. And was throwing around Joe Piper a bit. So Magomedov's wrestling is underrated. His grappling is underrated. And he did submit Bruno Ferreira as well. So grappling's underrated. Gotta respect that. But he is a fader. And he is a fader. He definitely is a fader. Definitely has questionable cardio. And Mikhail Oleksiejczuk definitely looks to push the pace. He definitely looks to push you on the back foot. Magomedov is definitely kind of a guy that kind of quits. He kind of fades and fights. And Mikhail Oleksiejczuk has definitely been working on his grappling defense a lot. And again, we'll push him on the back foot. He does work the body heavily. And I like that for Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I think there will be a little bit of some concerns early. But I love this fight for Mikhail Oleksiejczuk as the fight goes further. So the first round, for the most part, is my concern. But I think Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, with his improvements to that department and training with Kyle Bahayo, a guy who submitted him, training with the Fighting Nerds, I think his takedown defense will be sharper. His grappling will be sharper. And he'll be able to stuff the takedowns enough, address the grappling enough, be able to push the pace, push Magomedov on his back foot, work the body, break Magomedov down. And I think ultimately stop Magomedov in the third round via TKO. So in this one, I got Mikhail Oleksiejczuk via third round TKO. Now to the next fight we have in the middleweight division, we got Bruno Ferreira versus Ikram Aliskerov. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Ikram Aliskerov to beat Bruno Ferreira. And I'm not going to yap too much about this one, no need. Bruno Ferreira got big power. He's coming off a knockout loss. That's not good for him. Yeah, it's the power. He has solid grappling, but I think Aliskerov is the better overall grappling. I think that's clear. Submission grappling, probably Ferreira, like maybe this was BJJ, which is not. But MMA, with punches and wrestling and all that stuff, and pulling guard not being as effective, and it's not a gi jiu-jitsu or anything like that. And even in that, I probably studied Aliskerov will probably beat him in that as well. But yeah, Aliskerov, I think the better striker, more technical striker, quicker, longer, stronger. And I think he get the takedowns and shut Ferreira's ground game down completely, I think. And I think you could push Ferreira into the later round. So better cardio, better striking, better grappling. Ferreira just has a puncher's chance, in my opinion. I don't think it's a grappler's chance. It's a puncher's chance. And Aliskerov will be in and out, landing shots, mixing his takedowns, extend Ferreira, be heavy on top, breaking Ferreira down. And I'll say, what should I say? I'll say third round submission. I think he'll have to extend Ferreira a little bit, break him down, demoralize him, and then ultimately find a submission. Out striking him, landing clean shots, getting takedowns, being heavy on top, dropping ground and pound, and then when the Ferreira is exhausted and worn out and busted up, then he finds a submission in the third round. So in this one, I have Ikram Aliskerov via third round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got Azu Amabayev versus Charles Johnson. Yeah, my tongue is all over the place right now. But yeah, Azu Amabayev versus Charles Johnson. How do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Azu Amabayev to beat Charles Johnson. And yeah, when has Charles Johnson ever really beat a solid wrestler in the UFC? He lost to Cody Durden, lost to Mokaev. I'm pretty sure there's another guy he lost to. It's been at least 2, 3, if not 4 guys he lost to by getting wrestled up. And even Perez, who's like a wrestler grappler, he didn't get wrestled up by him. He got TKO by him. So, and you can say that's another grappler that beat him. He didn't beat him by grappling, but he still lost to another grappler. He has and even who else he lost to? He lost to Odie Osborne too. Yeah, this is not really a consistent, reliable guy. And the fights he pulls upsets on, the fights he pulls upsets in are against strikers. Lonair Kavanagh, Joshua Van. Those are the fights he pulls upsets in, against young strikers. That's who he pulls upsets against, not wrestlers. And it's not like Amabayev has a bad gas tank. Amabayev has a great gas tank, has a great chin. He got stopped by Kopp in one of these fights, Mano Kopp. And Mano Kopp is the hardest hitter in his weight class. And it wasn't via just getting dropped and TKO'd or put unconscious or nothing like that, or really unable to defend himself too much. He kind of was unable to defend himself, but it was because he got his eyeball scratched by Mano Kopp. But Mano Kopp was whooping him, was going to beat him regardless, but it was definitely the eye pokes that led to the stoppage. He was getting eyes scratched up, and then he was unable to defend himself and he got TKO'd. And Charles Johnson does not pack as much power as Manel Kape. And his takedown defense is a lot worse, and he gets held down a lot easier. So yeah, Charles Johnson has shown me nothing to say that this is a matchup that he'll win. Meaning this is another fight where he just gets taken down and held down. Maybe have a little moments there. Maybe he'll be the stuff to take down, be the work a jab, work some shots, little teeps here and there. But ultimately, I think he'll end up getting taken down about 5-6 times, if not less, probably like 3 times, and not be able to get up. But I think about 4 to 5 times taken down. Probably give up like 8 to 9 minutes of control time. And yeah, and I feel like he barely even won his last fight. So yeah, it's hard to even try to find an angle to lean Charles Johnson here. This is not the type of fight he pulls an upset in. So yeah, I think Ozzy Almabayev is able to keep the striking competitive enough, get plenty of takedowns, get plenty of control time, and beat Charles Johnson to a clear decision here. So in this one, I have Ozzy Almabayev via decision. Now to our next fight. We have in the lightweight division, we got Nazim Sadikov versus Matheus Camilo. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Nazim Sadikov to beat Matheus Camilo. It mainly because Sadikov ain't that great. Matheus Camilo does have some talent if he's able to get his ducks in a row. But ultimately, I got to go with Nazim Sadikov, and I'm pretty clear on picking Sadikov here. Low confidence, but I'm clear on picking him. I think he's a solid fighter. He can address the grappling. He can strike. He might not be the most effective offensive grappler, but he's a pretty decent defensive grappler. Like defending takedowns, getting back to his feet, hard to take him down, hard to hold him down. And on the feet, he's tough. He gets strong as the fight goes on. Matheus Camilo gets very weak as the fight goes on. I think every fight he's been in, he's supposed to win and supposed to be a decent favorite, but has not looked that great in none of his UFC fights. And I think Sadikov can address the grappler, be the sharper striker, be the tougher fighter, extend him, break him down, and stop him late in the second round. So in this one, I got Nazim Sadikov via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, we got Michel Pereira versus Shara Magomedov. And how do I feel about this one? Is I'll go average confidence Shara Magomedov to beat Michel Pereira. And not too long ago, Michel Pereira was getting stopped by Cal Dawkins of all people. I think Shara Magomedov will be able to address the grappling Pereira. It's like Pereira really has that effective of a grappling game. He does have a solid grappling game, but is it that effective, especially over rounds, especially against a bigger middleweight? I don't think so. I think he can try to mix it up, and it's just going to lead to the same path. Like Pereira does not have the best gas tank. He's going with the bigger, better striker, the bigger, quicker, sharper striker, more technical striker in Magomedov. So if he tries to wrestle, he'll have success for like a round, maybe a round and a half, but then he'll be tired, he'll be mouth breathing, and he'll be on the back foot, and then Magomedov will be able to stalk him, break him down, and stop him in the second round or something like that. If he just strikes, Shara Magomedov will be the better striker from the jump. It'll probably be a little bit of a filling out process, but once Shara Magomedov starts getting creative, start letting strikes go, he'll start to break Pereira down. Pereira won't be able to wear the shots as well as Magomedov being the bigger, stronger middleweight of the two. But yeah, same result I think either way. But yeah, Shara Magomedov, whether Pereira chooses to grapple heavy or just chooses to strike, I think Shara Magomedov breaks it down and ultimately TKOs him in the second round, whether early or late. Just stalking Pereira, breaking him down, putting pressure on, put him in the clinch, landing elbow, landing knees, and just wearing Pereira down and then stopping him late in the second round. So in this one, I have Shara Magomedov via second round TKO. Now to our main event. We have in the lightweight division, we got Rafael Fiziev versus Manuel Torres. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Rafael Fiziev to beat Manuel Torres. And yeah, Manuel Torres is big, but another one of these guys that has only showed first round. So you're picking Manuel Torres, it's seemingly first round. He has not shown any ability to go to the second round. He's been finished in the first, he's won in the first. This is his first 5-round fight, and he has no experience fighting out of the first round. So it seems like he's heavily relying on getting this done in the first round. So that's a big concern, and that's just like a hard pass for me here. If he wins or lose, it don't matter to me. Am I super confident? Not particularly, because he was coming off a knockout loss. Torres is riding some decent momentum. He's the more rounded guy, but it's not like, can he really be that effective with his more well-rounded game? I don't know. Fiziev has been in with much better fighters, and nobody has really been able to have an effective approach to grappling him. I have not really seen anybody take him down, hold him down. He's been taken down once or twice, but yeah, it's been hard to take him down. It's been even harder to hold him down. And Torres, that would be a lot of energy, especially if he tries to go for that early. If anything, that probably will seal his fate. If he goes hard for a takedown, gets it, and is not able to finish it, yeah, he's in a bad spot. And Fiziev is the much more technical striker, has fought much better strikers, has fought a much higher level in striking. He has no issue with dealing with a tall, lanky guy. He's beaten the guy who I think last beat Torres, who last actually stopped Torres, in Ignacio Bahamondes, and he clearly outstruck him. So it's not like Torres striking is on some level that Fiziev has not seen. He has literally beat the guy who destroyed you at UFC Noche in the spear. And I don't feel like Torres has necessarily got better. I still see the same as that guy. He got big power. He's a big body. But really all offense, really no defense. Like his defense is that he's big and long. But technically there's no real defense. There's no real particularly high IQ. It's just like, I'm big, I hit hard, I'm strong, I can grapple, and I'll come forward and I'll crush you. Hey, it might still work here. But that type of style ain't going to get you to the title. It ain't going to get you to the title fight. It's not going to really get you to the top 5. It might break you into the top 10 at most, but it might get you past this fight. But again, just been this big crusher who's only been in the first round versus Fiziev, who has multiple 5-round fights, who has been there with elite guys like Justin Gaethje 2 times, 2 competitive fights. Been in there with, what's his name? Knocked out Moicano. Been there with elite guys after elite guys, and I think Fiziev experience will come through here. His striking experience, high level striking, will definitely be to keep Torres honest, be to work his legs, work his body, be to exploit Torres being so reliant on his length and loaded up on shots, and be to kick, hit, and make miss and counter him back, break Torres down, extend him into the fight, work his gas tank, break him down, and stop him late in the 3rd round via TKO. So in this one, I have Rafael Fiziev via 3rd round TKO. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Fiziev versus Torres. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.